Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Chemical Engineer. I am Sai Yadav, and in this video we are going to see the new topic, that is sulfur and sulfuric acid industries in chemical technology. So till now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I request you to please subscribe to us. So let's start the video. So we are going to study about two chemicals, that is sulfur and sulfuric acid industries. So before going to that, we should know what are the properties of sulfur and sulfuric acid. So let me tell you. So sulfur is having atomic weight 32 and atomic number 16. Sulfur is available in two forms, that is rhombic and monoclinic. Rhombic sulfur is present at a temperature of 112.8 degrees Celsius or lower, while monoclinic sulfur is having a melting point of 119 degrees Celsius. Moreover, sulfur is insoluble in water, but it is soluble in ammonia and other solvents. And sulfur is found in the form of rocks, lumps, molten, then ground powder, as well as in sublime powder, that is flour of sulfur. So flour of sulfur, so you should Google it and search water flour of sulfur. You will be amazed. So in order to produce a sulfur, that is elemental sulfur, we have three processes. First is the fresh process, that is also known as elemental sulfur mining. Okay, so this subject is main important, or this topic is the main important topic for GATE. So please watch the video carefully, and there may be a minimum 1 to 2 marks MCQ will be present in your GATE paper from this video only. So fresh process. So fresh process is used for elemental sulfur mining. Then second process, that is oxidation reduction process for sulfur, is known as Claus process. So you should remember the names of all the processes. So elemental sulfur mining process is known as fresh process, while oxidation reduction process is also known as Claus process. And third process is finish process, which is obtaining us elemental sulfur from the pyrite ores. So I hope you are a chemical engineer, so you should be knowing what are pyrite ores. Okay, so let us begin with the first process, that is the fresh process. So in fresh process, what we do is elemental sulfur that is present under the ground, we try to take it out. So this is a typical flow sheet. So you may be confused after seeing this flow sheet, but थोड़ा ध्यान से इसको ऑब्जर्व करते हैं लाइन बाय लाइन. ओके, सो फर्स्ट वी हैव एयर, we have treated water, and fuel, that is to heat the water. Okay, now this is something which is going to the ground, a annular pipe which is going towards the ground, or in the ground I may say, which is annular. So middle part of the pipe is having a for air, so we pass air into it. Then the middle after the middle part we have annular portion from which this air tends to come out. Okay, so from this part air tends to go in and come out. And the third part is the one by which we are sending water into the pipe so that the sulfur gets melted, because we are giving the temperature of 160 to 180 degrees Celsius and high pressure as well, that is 25 atms. So at this pressure sulfur tends to melt, that is the rock of sulfur that is in the monoclinic or rhombic, it melts, and that melt sulfur is taken out using the water, and due to the air it comes out. Okay, so air is generally used to take it out, the liquid. Okay, so liquid comes out with air from the this portion of the pipe. Water goes from the outermost portion of the pipe, while we have the innermost portion, we are passing air, so we take out the liquid sulfur. So this liquid sulfur is again heated, and gases that are present or produced during the process are taken out in different steps. So this is a some phase separator. So this is a phase separator using heating with the steam. In the next we have pressure filter optional. So we have optional pressure filter, as well as we can directly use sulfur in the molten, or we can save it in a molten storage, or we can directly make a solidification, or we can directly solidify it and transfer it using a rail. Okay, so this is a simple process. So nothing is done. We are passing air from the middle pipe, water from the outside or the outermost portion of the annular pipe, and from the middle portion we are taking out the molten sulfur. Okay, so the one question is, we take out molten sulfur from the bottom of the ground. And okay, so this wastewater that is used to melt the sulfur rocks is again treated and aerated, or we can treat it directly, we can treat it. Okay, so this wastewater is treated. So this is a simple fresh process that was used earlier, while in India also, now also we are using this process, because the sulfur that is present in India is generally as in the form of rock. So we are using this fresh process for that. Next is the Claus process. So Claus process is also known as oxidation reduction process for sulfur. So in this process we'll use H2S gas. Okay, so this is all, both the gases are fed into a furnace first. Okay, so in order to understand any flow sheet, you have to look at it carefully and go one by one, or you can watch our video too. We are explaining it one by one. Okay, so when H2S and air are heated in a furnace, they converts into SO2, H2O and H2S, or air, that is unconverted part, that is H2S and air are the unconverted, and some of part is converted into SO2 and H2O at high temperature. Okay, so this H2S and air, when gets heated, it forms a SO2 and H2O. So the temperature is 300 degrees Celsius. Okay, now this combination or mixture of SO2 H2O gas is then again contacted with air and passed through a reactor. Reactor for the process is a catalytic bed or a packed bed reactor using bauxite Al2O3 as a catalyst. So Al2O3 is a catalyst is used in this reactor. So this reactor, in this reactor the temperature is also kept at 400 degrees Celsius, and at the outlet of this reactor we get 70 to 80% conversion in the sense we get elemental sulfur 70 to 80%. Okay, so now this is a gaseous state. So in order to convert into a liquid state, we are using condenser. So we condense the gaseous sulfur into a liquid using water. Okay, so the network is simple. Okay, you have to look from this reactor, the stream is coming out, it is getting heat exchanged with this heat exchanger and then going to the condenser directly. Okay, and from that condenser it liquid is going to this scrubber to remove the waste gases. So the work of scrubber is to remove the remaining gases or the waste gases. So scrubber is used to remove the waste gases, and in scrubber we are using a scrubbing agent as the liquid sulfur itself. Okay, so when it goes to the scrubber, we are doing the removing the waste gases. Okay, and some part of it is going of the gas is going through this, which is providing heat to the stream that is coming out of reactor. Okay, so this part, which is the gaseous part, is coming out at 150 degrees Celsius from condenser. It is going through this portion, exchanging heat with the heat exchanger and directly going to the second reactor. Second reactor is the main reactor during any sulfur process. Okay, so this may be a question itself, because in Claus process as well as in finished process we have two reactors. So okay, you should know all this. So second reactor is working at 260 degrees Celsius. So it is a similar kind of reactor, that is of bauxite catalyst packed bed, and from this reactor we are getting again the same process, condenser as well as that. And after all the combination of both the condensers, that is the stream from both the condenser as well as both the scrubbers, we are having a sump. What is a sump? If you have got chance to do any internship in any industry, you should have known it. Okay, I know it. So if you know what is sump, just comment. Don't Google it. If you know, then comment only. If you don't know, then you can ask us in Telegram or as well as in comment section. So this sump, and from the sump we have molten sulfur, that is liquid form of a sulfur, which is almost 90 to 95% of the what H2S and air are fed into the reactor. So this sulfur is again then solidification and used directly. Okay, so Claus process. So for this Claus process, H2S from natural gas and petroleum refinery stream is obtained. So H2S gas we are obtaining from natural gas as well as petroleum refining. So in petroleum refining we remove the H2S gas using desulfurization. Okay, then we can, so this is how we can recover H2S gas in petroleum refining. So the reactions, these are the main topic for GATE. Okay, so reactions that are going on are two reactions. First is conversion of H2O with O2 to SO2 and H2O, that is occurring in the furnace. Okay, so here this reaction is occurring, that is H2S plus O2 gives SO2 and H2O. And the second reaction, that is H2S plus SO2 gives sulfur in a gaseous state, is occurring in reactor 1 and reactor 2. Okay, so I hope this process is clear to you. Now in every study of the chemical technology we have major engineering problems. So for this process of Claus we have 4 engineering problems. So first is the designing of the two reactors so that yield as well as conversion can be increased. Then second is heat exchange for molten sulfur handling. Okay, so here we are condensing it. So in order to determine what is the temperature of heat exchanging, we can design it. Third is the corrosion. So we all know that sulfur gases are always corroding. So third problem is corrosion. And fourth problem is final cleanup of stack gases. So you know we are getting stack gases from this scrubber. So final disposal of stack gases is also a major problem for this process of Claus. Now finished process. So finished process seem to be a complicated one, but no need to worry. We will study it one by one and you will get it easily. Okay, so finished process uses a pyrite. So iron pyrite is something FeS or FeS2. Okay, so FeS2 is the iron pyrite ore. So we'll use the iron pyrite ore and we first pass it through a mesh of a 200 mm or 200 mesh size. Okay, so we convert the bigger rocks or the iron pyrite ore to the 200 mesh size and then pass it through a rotary kiln with a flue gas. Okay, so with the help of air we are having the 3-stage furnace. Okay, so this is actually a furnace. So typical size of this furnace is, let me see, I have written it. Okay, so typical size of this furnace is 5.5 meter in diameter. Okay, so this is a circular furnace. Okay, so this is a 2-dimensional image, so you may not see it clearly, but this is a 2-dimensional, this is a circular furnace. So circular furnace having a diameter of 5.5 meter and height of 10 meters. Okay, so this is a typical dimension of this furnace. So this furnace constitute of 3 parts. First part is the decomposition part, that is the higher temperature, that is due to the air and fuel oil. So higher temperature disproportionation, that is FeS when comes in contact with air gets decomposed into various parts we will see in reactions. Second part is the collector part. So in actually this furnace is actually diverting to a 90 degree, and we have a collector part. In collector part we have some bed of bauxite, or some bed is there. In this bed we collect the molten FeS, that is ferrous sulfide. Okay, so FeS is collected in this molten bed, or droplets that are present of FeS are collected in this bed, and these droplets are then passed through a granulator, or nulls are produced for this FeS. Moreover, some part of it is sent to the fluidized bed or contacted with air. So when FeS FeS comes in contact with air, it forms Fe2O3 SO2 gas. Okay, so this, okay, so what we have discussed is this part. Okay, so here we have fluidized roaster, in which the air is passed through the bottom, and FeS molten form is fluidized and converted to a powder form, and then it is actually converted to SO2 and Fe2O3. So some part of FeS is shipped to the H2SO4 plant, and some part is converted to granules, and some part is sent to reaction and form Fe2O3 and SO2. So up to this part we have discussed, bottom part. Okay, so here directly Fe2O3 is obtained, and that Fe2O3 is used in a steel or iron ore plant. Okay, so we have separated Fe2O3 from the bottom. SO2 gas that is obtained from the bottom is separated or heated first using water or a steam. So when this gas is heated, it is again then centrifugated, then we again do some purification using a process, and this stands for the purification and pressure control. Okay, so from this we get the sulfur dioxide. So as what we have discussed is, we have already discussed the bottom portion of the presentation. Okay, so what we have discussed is, from the collector we are getting FeS. So FeS is converted to granules and converted to Fe2O3 and sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is sent to the H2SO4 plant, while Fe2O3 is to steel plant. So the bottom portion is clear. Now what the remaining portion is with the air and iron pyrite. So the air using iron pyrite is going through the separator. Okay, so this separator again separates the okay, so it is actually a separator, so it's separating the molten FeS and FeS with air. So it again separates. Here we have electrostatic, okay, yes, 1 minute, I have forgot one thing. This is electrostatic precipitator. So this electrostatic precipitator is present at 2 points to remove dust. Okay, so this is a electrostatic precipitator, ESP. Okay, so this is ESP, that is electrostatic precipitator to remove dust. So when this air with iron pyrite ore is first heated, and then dust is removed, goes through the first reactor. So first reactor is the hot reactor having a temperature of 600 degrees Celsius, and the steam that is obtained from this separator is at 70 atm. Okay, so this 70 atm steam is used to run the turbo generator, and this electricity is produced from the turbo generator. Okay, so this upper part is also completed. Now the middle portion, that is what of our use. So first reactor is the hot reactor. So from the hot reactor, this is a bauxite bed. Okay, so bauxite bed is used for the hot reactor and cold reactor as well. So in first reactor the reaction takes place, we will see in the reaction section, and then this, from the hot reactor the products are formed. And okay, so first reactor is a catalytic reactor which is used for removing the carbon based impurities from sulfur. Okay, so this FeS when comes in contact with air, it forms Fe2O3 and SO2 gas. Now this SO2 gas may have some carbon content as well. So in order to remove that carbon content, this hot reactor at high temperature 600 degrees Celsius, we remove carbon. So carbon is removed, or CH2 or carbon based sulfur compounds are removed from the first hot reactor. Then from the second reactor, the stream containing the second reactor using cold reactor. So from cold reactor we do the reaction, main reaction for the formation of elemental sulfur here. Okay, so whenever you are asked where the reaction of elemental sulfur formation takes place in finished process, then your answer should be in a second cold reactor, or the cold reactor, which is working at temperature of 150 degrees Celsius. Okay, so from the cold reactor we get the conversion of sulfur to sulfur, that is SO2 is converted to sulfur, elemental sulfur. And what the thing is we are converting it, we will see in the next slide. Then we have condenser, again similar process of purification. So this all part is for the purification. Okay, so this is the purification part, this one. So condenser, then followed with the, okay, yes, so this is a so it is a autoclave. So autoclave is generally removing arsenic impurities. So arsenic impurities are removed before producing the final sulfur, because in H2SO4 process we use vanadium or platinum catalyst. So this catalyst can be deactivated using due to the arsenic. So in order to remove that poison arsenic, we do autoclave. We have continuous autoclave to remove it. Okay, and we use lime water. CaOH twice dot H2O is used to remove the arsenic impurities from the final stream of the sulfur. Okay, so this is a typical process, finished process. You have to just remember the middle part of this process, that is the reaction part, as well as the final part by which we are removing impurities. So your answer should be lime water. Okay, so reactions that are taking place is, first reaction is thermal dissociation, that is often occurring at the furnace, that is furnace. So first reaction is FeS2 when combines with H2 gas, it forms FeS. So this FeS is separated using a what we have, that collector. So from that collector we remove the FeS. Next, the first removing the impurities, that is CHS and air, we are combining general combustion reaction takes place, that is forming of SO2 H2S CO and H2O and H2CO2 gas. Then from the first stage, that is first reactor, we use catalyst, bauxite catalyst, to produce sulfur, that is S6 is produced, but this is not a pure one because we have impurity in terms of CO2. So CO2 is separated from the first reactor and S6 is produced, but the conversion is low. Second reactor, that is the cold stage reactor, again we form a H2S and SO2 gas is passed at lower temperature, that is 150 degrees Celsius, and H2O plus sulfur is produced, and this elemental sulfur is our final product. Okay, so this is our final product in finished process, and this is what we have discussed, the bottom part of the flow sheet, that is FeS plus O2 gives Fe2O3 and SO2 at high temperature. So this is all about sulfur industries. Now we will see about sulfuric acid industries. So sulfuric acid having the property as, so it is a strong dibasic acid. So dibasic acid means it will give 2H plus when dissociate. Then it is oxidizing as well as dehydrating agent. Oxidizing in the sense it gives oxidize, means you have studied in oxidation reduction redox reaction. It is an oxidizing agent as well as it is dehydrating agent, that is to dry up the water. It forms oleum with sulfur trioxide, and in general market it is sold as the oleum only, or H2SO4 plus H2O. That is not a concentrated one but in the dilute form. Okay, it is having a specific gravity of 1.84, means it is a denser at 18 degrees Celsius. Concentrated H2SO4 is denser compared to water. Uses of sulfuric acid includes fertilizer industries, battery industry. In fertilizer we use it in the superphosphate production. In batteries we use it directly. So you have one question, another one second question from this video. What is the percentage of the sulfur that is we are using in our normal battery of a car or the vehicle? So this is your second question of this video. So in order to produce sulfur we have two processes. First one is the contact process and second one is the chamber process. Chamber process is the older one, which is first used by in 1746 to produce sulfuric acid, but the conversion of that process yields the conversion or the concentration of the final H2SO4 is less than 80%. So this process is neglected and new process by the contact known as contact process is evolved, and so in industries most of the industry uses contact process now. Chamber process is not used now. Okay, so this is a contact process. So you have to answer what is DCDA. Okay, so DCDA is what you have to answer. So DCDA is the full form for the contact process. So you have to comment what is the full form of DCDA or for the contact process. Okay, so the process consists of simple flow sheet. So here what we are using is molten sulfur. So this molten sulfur is first passed to a burner. Okay, so in burner the temperature of this S6 or the elemental sulfur is increased, and in turn we use air and introduce it the feed side. Okay, so air is introduced and this combination in the burner is at high temperature, that is sulfur plus air. So when sulfur and air mixes, it forms SO2, SO3 and other gases, that is SOx in general. So these gases are heated in the burner. Again they are exchanged heat with the heat exchanger and gas filter is then used. Now we have two-stage catalytic converter for the formation of H2SO4. Okay, so one thing I have forgot is the outlet of this gas filter is having 7 to 10% sulfur dioxide and 10 to 14% oxygen. Okay, so gas filter outlet is 7 to 10% sulfur dioxide SO2 and 10 to 14% oxygen. Okay, now this is a two-stage catalytic converter. So in two-stage catalytic converter, first stage is present at 500 to 600 degrees Celsius. Here the bed of V2O5 is used in both stages of the reactor. So from the first stage, when this gas is passed through a catalytic reactor, a catalytic bed, it is converted to H2SO4, or we can say the conversion that is obtained is 80%. So SO2 is converted to SO3 and H2SO4 up to 80% from the first stage. So product of the first stage is again cooled down using a cooler or a heat exchanger. We can cool it using a water. So from that it is again cooled and again sent to the second stage of the reactor, which is operated at 400 to 450 degrees Celsius. Now in the second stage again the reaction with the bed occurs, V2O5 catalyst, and the final product is taken out, and this final product is cooled using air cooler. Now this final product is taken to the oleum absorption tower. Okay, so oleum absorption tower. So in oleum absorption tower we do a counter current absorption of gases that are obtained from the two-stage catalytic converter. Now these gases are then absorbed and some part of the gas is again sent to the 98% H2SO4 absorption tower. So from this H2SO4 absorption tower we get after this is actually a cooler using water. From this we get a 98% H2SO4 and it is stored directly in a storage tank. While from the oleum tower also we get oleum, that is H2H2O7, H2S2O7 is the oleum, that is H2SO4 plus SO3. Okay, so oleum is again stored in the oleum storage. Now how are we doing the absorption in oleum? So look here, the stream is coming from the storage tank of H2SO4. So H2SO4 is used to absorb the remaining SO2 gas or SO3 gas from the reactor. So this is absorbed and the oleum is produced, or oleum is obtained as a product. So in and other in H2SO4 absorption tower also we are using H2SO4 for absorption. So this it is a 97% H2SO4. Spent gases or the remaining gases which cannot be converted are taken out or flared or sent into the atmosphere directly. So the final product is 98% H2SO4. Now you have observed that one stream is going to the air dryer. So as we have discussed air dryer, so this H2SO4 is also a dehydrating agent. So it will dry the air if any water or the liquid or is present in the air. So that is why we are counter currenting, drying the air first. Okay, and this again is sent to the H2SO4 absorption tower. So I hope this PPT is clear to you. So the chemical reactions are only two, that is sulfur is converted to SO2 from the first stage, that is what we have discussed in the burner, and SO2 is converted to SO3 in the reactor, two-stage reactor. We convert SO2 to SO3, and that SO3 is converted to oleum as well as H2SO4 when it comes in contact with water. Okay, so these are some characteristics of the catalyst. So catalyst should be a porous carrier having large surface area, controlled pore size. Okay, so why are we using the vanadium oxide as a catalyst? So this is the typical examples, because there are many examples. Okay, so you should read it by yourself. So advantages of V2O5 is relatively immune to the poisons. It has low investment and only 5% replacement per year. Requires 10 kg of catalyst mass containing 7 to 8% V2O5 per daily tons of 100% acid. So for 1 ton of acid only 10 kg of catalyst is used, which is cheaper for producing the H2SO4. Disadvantages are dilute SO2 as a catalyst. Okay, must use dilute SO2. So SO2 must be dilute. That is why I have said that from the gas filter we form SO2 in the 7 to 10%. So two-time gate have asked this question, that what is the percentage of SO2. Then as catalyst is less active and requires high, so oxygen concentration, that is what we have kept as 10 to 14%. So higher oxygen to sulfur dioxide ratio should be kept for better conversion. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. You have to support us. So for supporting us, you can subscribe us and join us on Telegram as well as on Instagram. So I end this video here. So thank you. I am Sahil Yadav, and hope you will subscribe us for our next videos and watch our next videos. So thank you for watching the videos.